Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Sorry about the garage being a little bit messy. Still trying to decorate it a little bit and clean out and all this other stuff. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about a modification that I did on my 435i about 6 months ago. It's something that I really didn't even know existed for these cars up until, again, 6 months ago or so, kind of recently. But it's definitely been one of the best modifications I've done on this car. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to unlock the car, and we're going to hop in and I'll show you what exactly I did. All right, so as you can probably already see, there's something a little bit different about the interior of this BMW. Let me get a little bit closer to it. And that is this big, nice screen that I installed. So right now it's currently off. I mean, really just like accessory mode on the car, but I'll go ahead and turn on the car and show you how it kind of looks. All right, so getting inside of my car here, we can see kind of like the old factory software here. I actually had the tech package from the factory on this car. So it came with this kind of like touchpad, iDrive controller, larger controller. It came with the full NBT system, and it has some other things that it came with on, just from the factory. But even with that, I mean, the old navigation just really sucks. So this is the old navigation, and dear mother of God, it is just, I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's just trash. I mean, I don't doubt that, it could potentially be usable in a life or death situation. You're like in the middle of a desert somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it'll save you, give you decent directions. I think what scares me the most is like people actually use this on a routine basis, like this factory stuff. And I never really understood it because, I mean, the few times that I tried to use it, it was just absolutely terrible. Like I got stranded a few times because it just took me to these really old routes that don't even exist anymore. Because the maps on these, I think they stopped updating them, and it was just a whole thing. And that's what kind of got me into like looking to see if I can like actually upgrade this, because I was like, there's no way people actually deal with this. So, I started looking around on the forums. I started looking around on Reddit, YouTube. I saw one guy, he did like the MMI box from BimmerDirect on there. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to go ahead and do the CarPlay modification. So I bought this 10.25 8 gig with 128 gigs of storage additionally from BimmerDirect. It was honestly like the best price point I could find with the actual warranty. I was looking for something that I knew would actually have a warranty, because I've heard of, and this has happened to me before, which is how I kind of had like a few reservations, but I've heard of some cases where they were buying them from some of these other companies, and these companies were based in China, and they would have an issue with these things, and they were like unable to return it. And I was just like, wow, that's insane. So I found two companies. I found BimmerTech and BimmerDirect. BimmerTech was a little bit too pricey. I don't doubt that they have good customer service and good support and everything else. But I was kind of like also trying to weigh it for price. And so I went to BimmerDirect, and I mean, they were just, I mean, from the get-go, I was like, okay, these guys are actually responding in English and all this other good stuff. And it seemed like they had a lot more knowledge about their actual items and the things they're selling. I just didn't want to really deal with this old system anymore. I feel like the rest of the interior on these cars is pretty awesome, but then when you get to kind of this, and you just kind of, I don't know, it just kills it. So anyway, yeah, so I installed it. Install wasn't too bad. Maybe I'll make another video about how that went. Screen quality is pretty damn good, actually, even in daylight. I mean, it is like a improved LCD panel or LED panel. I'm not sure exactly what type of screen they use. I know it's like some type of HD screen, but it is improved over the old one, I can tell you that. Not a whole lot of glare. The colors are really vibrant. It just looks good all around. If I press and hold menu for 2 seconds here, I'm able to switch into basically the new operating system. So you're basically like dual booting into a whole other operating system. And the way that the BimmerDirect has this just looks so good. So it honestly looks exactly like the NBT EVO. So NBT EVO was like the OEM factory system that came after these models. And this thing, the way they designed it is very identical to that. So here we have navigation. This navigation is like actual GPS navigation if you want to use that. There's a web browser here. There's just, connectivity stuff. You have like aux stuff. You have music. And I'll get to this aux thing too later, because you actually, for these F-Series cars, you do not need to, hook up an aux cable, which is pretty awesome because the rest of the companies I was able to find, you can only hook it up via aux, and that can actually kill some of your audio quality. With this system, what I can actually do is I can use my default Bluetooth factory system while using this CarPlay menu. Thus, basically, you get the best, possible quality, yada, yada, yada. So I thought that was really interesting. Music, video, these are kind of just like some, I guess, like they're applications on top of like, the CarPlay system itself. But you have this whole apps drawer too. And this I thought was extremely cool because once we get into this apps drawer, we have literally Google Chrome, YouTube. We have some settings for like further customization and stuff. The Z-Link app is actually how you connect to CarPlay, but BimmerLink. So I downloaded this because I actually have my dongle plugged in down there. And so what I can actually do is I can actually display some of the coding information on this actual screen here if I want to. And that goes the same as well for like any other applications like MHD tuning, JB4, etc. You can literally display all that stuff on this screen, which is awesome. Like, to me, it's amazing. You have the Google Play Store, which enables that. So if you actually connect this to either a SIM card slot that it has, or if you hotspot it to a Wi-Fi router, whatever the case is, you're actually able to download any Google Play app. Even if you have an iPhone, you can download any Google Play app and it'll download it on this tablet itself. And this tablet itself will act as an Android device. And so by doing that, you basically have like endless customization because it's not this tablet screen, the way they designed it is not, basically running on the contingency of only your iPhone's capabilities. It can run on basically its own power, its own everything. And so when you do that, you're basically able to download as many apps as you want, the same as you would on like an Android tablet. So you can even download games on here. It's insane. I thought that was very interesting. You can download legitimate Android games onto this thing. And I mean, I guess play them while the car is parked. But, more realistically, you can download like things like Netflix, Hulu, Disney, all those other good stuff, all those other good apps. So you have Google Maps. That's like just an application that's separate from, CarPlay and everything else. CarPlay is pretty easy. You literally just turn on your Bluetooth and then you go into this like additional menu. Let me try to do that really quick. I'm going to cut the camera. All right, guys, and so we're back. And so, yeah, I went ahead and booted into CarPlay. So this is like actual official Apple CarPlay. The really cool thing about this unit is you can basically control it with like the control knob here, or you can actually go through and just actually use the touch screen, which is pretty cool. It basically gives you like both options, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Really? I mean, if you've ever used CarPlay before, let me try to adjust the brightness on this. There we go. If you've ever used CarPlay before, you're probably accustomed to this already. I mean, CarPlay doesn't change depending on, where you buy the unit from or the case is. CarPlay is CarPlay. The only real differentiator is kind of like what I showed you. So those additional menus that are behind the CarPlay and behind Android Auto, that is something not every system has. This system clearly has it, so it has its like own operating system, which is cool. But besides that, yeah, I mean, like CarPlay is kind of like the main attraction just because you're able to, get way better directions, and it's not as bad as like the factory system we saw earlier. So as you can see, everything is like super responsive. So there's two options. There's like a base model and then there's the top spec unit. I went for the top spec unit, which is this one. It's like super like spec'd out. It has 8 gigs of RAM, which is like a good amount to have really any electronic device run on. You can adjust like wallpapers for, the actual icon layout and everything else. You can customize that. And, it just looks a lot better to drive around with, than the factory system. Because if I switch into the factory system, just for contrast, for the hell of it, like, yeah, not a whole lot going on here. But, we switch back into the CarPlay menus and it's just, it makes a huge difference. Like you can pull up like your actual like official Apple Music and everything else just like that, or Spotify or whatever app you use. So that is just infinitely better in so many ways. Modernizes the entire, interior of the car. I could just go on forever about that. So this is kind of like the default menu, what I was showing you guys, like the skin that's kind of behind CarPlay and Android Auto. So this is just really well done. I know that they used kind of like NBT EVO as their inspiration for creating these icons. And I think it looks pretty dang good overall. One thing I did discover is if you go into settings, there's actually other UIs that you can actually pull up. There's like 2 or 3 other ones. So I'm going to actually cycle through all those. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to get into the settings and try to look for it again. But yeah, we're going to cycle through and I'll show you the different customization skins that they have built into this thing. So this is like the second one right here. I was able to boot into it. Kind of like the skin and everything I was showing you. You know, you have vehicle info, so you actually have like some performance gauges here and stuff. Some people like these, some people don't. You can see my very high mileage there. I take good care of this car. Still runs like new, but yeah, it's very high mileage. But yeah, so it's like very nice because you can customize these. You can actually change these to other colors and all this other stuff like that. And some people like that in contrast with like the gauges and everything. Some people actually enjoy that. I personally don't use them, but you know, to each their own on that. But yeah, there's one more skin. I'll show you guys that really quick. All right, yeah, so this is the third scheme right here, and it looks like it's modeled after iDrive 8. I actually found this right here. You can actually change the theme even more, which is interesting. So you can change it to like sport, and it'll go into this like red, blue, and purple kind of color scheme, which looks really nice. If we go into car info, it has kind of like the G series gauges, as far as I can tell, because the G series are the ones who started using kind of like that angular design. So I guess they like, you know, they were able to imitate that. You can add an additional icon or app or whatever the case is here, which is really convenient. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, all in all, guys, I have to say, it's a no-brainer upgrade. This thing can literally run a video game on it. It can run Netflix, it can run YouTube, it can run all these applications that you would want your car to realistically have. Comes really handy on road trips, I'd imagine, especially, I mean, this is a 2-door car, but if you had like a kid in the back, or if you have like one of the 4-door cars or SUVs, then I can only imagine this would be a big lifesaver. A lot of connectivity options, and I mean, it's kind of endless because it does run on Android. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but at the end of the day, it does also run on Android behind the scenes, which is what allows it to actually have a lot of these connectivity options. So all in all, I'd say for me, you know, these past 6 months, it is definitely probably the best money I've spent on this car, besides this like M4 steering wheel, which I got for really cheap with the airbag and everything. But you know, that and this are just like 2 no-brainer upgrades that I made, and I absolutely love them. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll try my best to like, you know, mess with it some more and, you know, experiment for you guys. Oh yeah, one thing I did find additionally, I was poking around in the settings, in the custom settings over there, and you can actually like, if you're computer savvy, you can like load an image onto a USB stick, hook the USB stick up through the glove box, because they give you an additional like USB cable you can route through. You plug it in through there, and you can actually load your own custom boot logos on this thing. That's insane. That's a lot, you know, better than the stock system where you're kind of limited. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it taught you something. If not, then oh well, you know, I tried. I don't really make a whole lot of YouTube videos. This is actually kind of like my first one. I'm still getting acquainted with a lot of things in this car, but you know, if there's something you guys want to see, or if you have any questions, of course, let me know. Have a good rest of your day.